from the 18th of the second month of 1443, the Fool and the Four of Needles reversed with III The Empress. Damage has been done, but we can rise above such conditions. When the spiritual side of what went on is known, we can be active with the perception. Don't be too passive to material pain and pleasure, but bring that and the psychological cycles with regard to others into your religion. And what are your initial thoughts on these cards? And
it's a little bit dark per se. I picked up a dark time on the horizon. I mean, overcome, of course. I picked up some type of battle, like I picked up on speaking your mind in the right way. But yeah, it was a little dark. Air quotations.
Well, I'm not sure at what point this is. Is he going back to fix things, or what's the deal at that point in the movie? I don't know, but damage has been done, but we can rise above such conditions. And the Fool card, I shared a little bit from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. I mean that's not going out for a while, but that was what I was reading from today, and it's like an image of the Fool card, because you know the Fool, you got all these the material things, you got the created entities, but that's not deity, but it's operating these things, and the soul is supposed to be operating its domain too. But you're not the system, you're beyond the system, but there's something to engage in, obviously. So that's what the Fool does. I like the orange because I attribute orange to the period a week after Halloween. But it kind of, if I paint on the floor of my temple room like a wheel of colors, I'm probably going to have the points like that. So it's not after the point, it's like around the point is going to be orange. Then around the point is going to be black, and then purple, then green,
awesome.
then yellow, then white, then red, then blue, and so I'm thinking of in the entryway having something like that.
In the card, it looks like he's trying to get away from something. That's what I just picked up. He's just
Yes,
trying
he's got to get away. He's got to get away. He's got to fly away. However that song goes.
Gotta get away. Yeah,
but yeah, things are dying there, and depending on the temperature, obviously, the leaves fall a bit differently.
Yeah.
And the needles, which is of course the swords.
Yeah.
When the spiritual side of what went on is known, we can be active with the perception. Now, some cards encode some sort of meaning in how the needles are. It's like the four, so it's almost like it's a need, because the N is in the runes is like that, but I don't think they're doing that. Now the Empress is only upright card here, I think. Don't be too passive to material pain and pleasure, but bring that in the psychological cycles with regard to others into your religion. Now, the Empress and the Emperor kind of pair together.
Yeah.
She's got her kids on a leash, but they don't show the kids on a leash. I think they should show the kids on the leash, because so many of the tarot cards have the Empress like holding the baby. It's like, well, then show the kids on the leash.
Right.
Um,
I've
and
seen
and then
on leash.
people be like, oh, it's abuse. It's like, well, it depends.
No,
Um,
if they like to run and are very active, then I can see how a parent would want to make sure they're safe. It's not like they, tie them around by the neck or anything. So,
and so what we're going to emulk, so
bad.
the cross quarter of the other.
Oh, a little. Mhm.
So the Empress is a card with this one. So we can continue talking about the Empress. And because the spring maiden. So obviously the cycle is in your favor, and now's the time for love and growth and all that stuff. And but obviously taking advantages of the differences. That's one people, oh, I like to switch things up, and I like to put the males where the females are and the females where the males are. It's like, but you're missing the point. The society working together, or different
Right.
aspects of creation
Yeah.
out there, working together.
Yeah.
They want some
Exactly.
artificial sameness. So, but the Hierophant here is, very, very, very Christian. The guy up there in front with authority. But that's the thing with almost everything. But some groups, it's like they lead the prayer, but it's not like, look at me. Oh yes, I have awesome suit and my authority. It's like some groups, they're like, no, they want a reason. If you go
Yeah.
to masjid, they'll typically going to want a reason why the guys come to this opinion. It's not, and the person the people leading aren't exactly necessarily assumed to be better than everybody else. Um, so, but
Some of the reasons why I couldn't, join a church or anything like that. I kind of like to let my within, guide me. Um, yeah.
well, like Lon Milo Biquette says, people, so many people contacted him about what their holy guardian angel has said as a message or whatever for them. And it's like, yeah, they're kind of not getting it. It's everybody is supposed to personalize the information, or whatever, at least. So
Mhm.
you can have that structure and stuff that things are worked into, but
Yeah.
it's still, you got to personally bring that in. Like here you have a couple keys in the bottom there,
Yeah.
and the chariot's like, the Crowley thing, it looks more like a Grail quest, but this is just some generic chariot, and you're trying to connect to both the astrology of old with the canopy and the different,
Yeah. This,
again, so there's the vehicle of old wisdom now.
yeah,
Plenty of,
this card, I can see a lot of, it looks like a lot of power in it.
yeah, the blood of the saints, as it's called,
Power.
is not the same thing as, you know a vicarious reliance, if you look at the symbol. But the thing is that you bring out that of your own. Because what is the chariot? The chariot, you're taking off all those roles.
Yeah.
And finally, I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, I'm not this whatever. Um,
Bring out your own power.
and you can, well, all this stuff is really supposed to be that. It's like, as I'm saying, you have your own experience. And one of the shames that's happened to the Islamic community is, despite its in-depth teaching of how to experience stuff, they kind of generally ignore that. And then you have some guy giving a lecture. Well, there's one verse that tells you how to wash up for prayers, but they turn it into a big old lecture. It's like, why not teach people how to better experience their prayers, instead of focusing on, here's 20 different opinions on what side of my arm do I wash first.
Oh,
because you know, that detail is not there, so people have argued, you know, just like the rabbis have decided, oh, that's
Mhm.
too simple. Let's do something. Let's have a complex thing, um, and
I
wipe
know
over
it.
your wipe off your shoe. But what type of shoe counts as a shoe? I've you know, I've heard and read some pretty ridiculous things, but I wouldn't blame it
Right,
necessarily on the base of religion. But Judaism is basically
right,
the
right.
the the Jewish ways or the rabbis' ways or whatever, and so that's a little bit different. Um, but
Um,
okay, the other card, the Empress, um, is the Thoth Tarot one of those ones that the Empress is holding the kid?
she's holding, it looks like a little uh, flower wand.
Okay, yeah, it's not that, but that is basically the same thing. Because
Mhm,
remember the like in the Goetia, the name of the entity comes from flowers, you know, so it's the flowering is it you know, each of these dividing the trumps in between the seasons, that really made sense to me. Um,
mhm,
but of course the children. So there's three flowers, right?
mhm. There's, it looks like there's four petals on the flower, or flower wand.
Yeah, so we're talking about the cycles most largely driven by the moon, but there's the solar element too. So those are connected. That's why it's important that spiritually to use calendars that use the moon. You know what season it is, so you don't necessarily have to keep track of it with that as much. Um, but you know, what else
It,
is in your hand? But you see the
um,
start of a cycle there. So you're
yeah,
going down the things.
yeah, she has nothing in her other hand. It could is the shield. Could it represent the solar aspect? Oh, sorry
Well,
about the.
obviously she's more connected to the negative or the female or whatever, and um, the swan is the vehicle of like the beyond the edge, the symbol of Narayan. Um,
Okay.
and remember the chant,
Right.
Zupti. Zupti, it relates to the term Zupti. And
Okay.
throughout the Thoth Tarot, you're going to see at some point the colors of the lion and the eagle change. So the cyclical, and then there's the linear, and I think it's time to switch